Finish him. The man got crushed. The ghost just ghosted Rances Barthelemy. Ugh. I could tell you. Watch. Oh my God. He out of here. It's over. The ref, he like, we need medical. Nasty. Wow. Frank Martin just destroyed Rances Barthelemy. Watch again. Snipe! I ain't a New Jack, nobody gon' Wesley snipe me. It's less than likely. Move back. Let I breathe. Wow. Shout out to Frank Martin. And what up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Frank Martin made his debut with trainer Buddy McGirt, and his debut at 140 pounds. Now, Martin has been on a pretty substantial layoff. Rances Barthelemy too was on a layoff, so pretty even there. Rances was the bigger fighter, more fights at the weight class. He was visibly taller, and you've seen the outcome. Congratulations to Frank Martin. That was a sensational knockout of the year contender. You got to put that as a KO of the, even though it's the last month of the year, you got to consider that, because that was nasty. Anytime where the fighter falls back, hits their head on the canvas, falls back uncontrolled, like they're on a roller coaster with their arms up and their arms just flail about, that's pretty much a nasty knockout. And that's what happened. Ha! Hit him with the surgical laser, pinpoint left, right on the chin. Boop. And that's what you got. So, again, congratulations to Errol Spence. Errol Spence is a manager of Frank Martin. And good for Frank Martin to get back into the win column. As you guys know, or you should know, Frank Martin's last performance, the reason why he switched trainers probably and took a long layoff, is because he himself was brutally knocked out by none other than Gervonta Tank Davis. So I must spend a few moments talking about Gervonta Tank Davis as well. And I'm going to talk about myself, because in these videos, I give you the good, the bad, and the ugly. And for me, it's good. For Tank, it's good. For y'all, it's bad and ugly. I tell y'all, be careful where you get your information from in the world of boxing. A lot of people try to talk boxing, but they don't do it like Boxing Ego. I told you, there are a lot of Tank haters, Gervonta Davis haters, and they go out of their way to try to clown or make Tank look bad. And some people have went as far as attacking Tank's resume, like, man, he's not fought anybody, how come, yada yada yada, right? He hasn't fought nobody, when's he gonna step up? But if you look at his resume, after Tank fights him and oftentimes beats him, he has a lot of wins that have aged very well. Ryan Garcia went on to beat Devin Haney initially, beat guy like Oscar Duarte, who is Kenneth Sims didn't beat, Jojo Diaz didn't beat, dangerous guy, and also the guy that fought Mario Barrios, Akhmedov or whatever, right? Akhmadaliev, right? Pitbull Cruz went on to beat Rolly by stoppage. Pitbull Cruz went on to become a champion. You have Lamont Roach fighting tonight with Pitbull Cruz. So whoever wins, Tank has already fought them. If Lamont Roach wins, it's a draw. But I personally thought Tank did enough to win the fight. It's just that Lamont Roach, I guess, did better than the perception people have for him. So all roads lead to Tank. You got Lamont Roach fighting Pitbull, 2 former Tank fights. You got Ryan Garcia supposed to fight Barrios. at the top of the year. 2 people Tank already knocked out, and this has been going on. Enter Frank Martin. Tank, right before the Lamont Roach fight, knocked this man out, and it was in brutal fashion. You see right there, June 24th, Gervonta Davis, right? So Tank fought him when he was undefeated in the MGM Grand Garden Arena and knocked him out brutally. It was a nasty knockout. And then you see the man come back with Rances Barthelemy, right, this year, today, and he destroys and cooks Rances Barthelemy. I mean, look at these pictures. Rances was out of there. And I've watched a lot of Rances' fights. He's awkward. The Robert Easter fight was super. Look at the man, bro. What happened to that boy? What happened to that boy? I've watched he fell on the It Is What It Is podcast logo. So that's great promotion for Killer and Mason Betha. See, senorita. Right? He fell on the logo. Right? Rances, again, I've seen plenty of his fights. He's awkward. He's a Cuban fighter. He's tall, rangy, and he's just a hard style to contend with because of how he fights. Jab, sometimes he'll switch stances, and he's just awkward. And he's one of the Cuban fighters that really can slow down the tempo and then put you in an ugly fight. Like the Robert Easter fight was one of the worst fights that I've ever seen. Because again, if you don't fight him in the proper fashion, then he can make it an ugly night for you, where you're just looking bad, right? And I've seen it time and time again. Jose Ramirez is a former champion, right? And Jose Ramirez didn't beat him like that. He didn't do all that to him, right? Even the Gary Antoine Russell knockout, I believe, was a bit controversial, where they were like, I don't know. Like it was questionable. I got to watch it again, but I remember it being where he kind of disputed it. What Frank Martin just did to him was blazed him. And Frank Martin looked very good. He looked patient, but a bit more aggressive. He came out. He looked good at the weight. Pause. Good jab. His footwork was definitely there, where he was turning Rances. He looked. If it's funny, his nickname is the Ghost. He actually looked more Ghost-like in this fight, And that's not a slight to Derek James. And props to Buddy McGirt, but, different trainers, different styles. They're going to tell you to focus on different stuff. The corner work was good from Buddy McGirt, from what I heard. He's a former fighter as well, just like Derek James. So they had a good game plan. He kept putting angles on Rances Barthelemy, and then he ended up in the 4th round knocking Rances down, clipped him with I think it was a 2-punch, like a right-left combo. Rances Barthelemy went down. He was probably buzzed from it. And then Frank jumped on him, bop, 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 and kind of let off the gas a little bit to, not overwhelm himself, not punch himself out. And he found a left hand that just clipped Rances right on the chin. And that was it. It was over. So, very strong performance by Frank Martin. I mean, anytime you get a knockout of the year, what more can you ask for? And I'm proud of Frank Martin because he did it off the back of a long layoff, and he did it coming from a brutal knockout himself, brand new trainer. You never know how that's going to look, right? But he performed a 4th round knockout. He looked surgical. He didn't get hurt. He didn't really get touched. And I got to give myself credit. I got to give myself a lot of credit because he got blazed by Tank Davis. We all know how that fight played out. But your boy Ego didn't lose faith. And I'm telling you, and I told you then, and I'm saying it now, I'm like, Don't write Frank Martin off because of what happened with Tank. Tank is just a special fighter with the ingredients, and the fight played out how it played out. But do not write Frank Martin off. He is a quality fighter. He's a really good fighter. And I said, I personally have faith that he'll make noise in this new division, 140 pounds. I said, don't be surprised if he becomes a champion again. So if you remember me saying this on my channel, type I remember. This shows from the people who frequent my channel and my regulars, Ego's Army, that it ain't no cap. So you guys should be able to look and see people vouching for it. And if not, you could type in Frank Martin, Boxer Ego, and you will find the videos. I don't delete any videos. So you will find videos that I've done suggesting that. So again, Gervonta Davis's resume has aged very well, because you got people who can lose to Tank and then they could bounce back with these type of performances, right? These type of performances. Again, no matter how you rate Rances Barthelemy, I'm telling you, he's a Cuban fighter, which we respect the Cuban school of boxing, and he could be very, very tricky in terms of making you in a stinker fight. Frank Martin ain't fall for none of that. Post-fight, Errol Spence, obviously he's happy his man's won, and he's like, Frank Martin looked very good with Buddy McGirt, right? And they both come from DJ's gym. So I have no complaints. I am definitely ready for what's next, because Frank Martin could presumably fight Pitbull Cruz, Lamont Roach. You got Gary Antoine Russell, a lot of options, right? Shakur's talking about fighting T.O. at 140. I think that's a bit harder to make. Keyshawn Davis, but these are still names that are out there. Richardson Hitchens, another name. I would love to see any of these fights. Congrats to Frank Martin. This card has been fun so far. We've seen already some very good. Jose Benavidez had a fighter with a crazy knockout. Frank Martin with a crazy knockout. And we ain't even got to the main event. For more boxing news and breakdowns just like this, subscribe. Live streaming can be tough, which is why I use StreamYard. Click the link in the description for StreamYard, which is an awesome tool that enables you to set up your stream with ease of use. Get great results with live streaming. It's what I use. Stream to social media with ease with StreamYard. Live streaming is here to stay. Engage with your audience using StreamYard. Great way to reach out to your audience and connect. So you need a tool that can do that. If you're new to YouTube and you're struggling to get views, one tool I could provide to you is TubeBuddy. I've been on YouTube over 10 years. I use TubeBuddy daily to crank out videos just like this one that you're watching. Learn how the pros do it with TubeBuddy. YouTube receives a lot of traffic, which also means a lot of creators, a lot of people putting out content. So you need to learn the ropes so you know how to separate yourself, especially if you're new. But even if you're a pro, use TubeBuddy. The link is in the description. Get more views, more subscribers, and a higher click-through rate, so ultimately you can realize all of your online goals. Use my affiliate link in the description and grow your channel fast.